Hi guys, this is your favorite mystic, TheSirenSayz, and welcome back to my commentary channel, where we talk about movie, TV, and soon-to-come books, everything that I like, dislike, and the good, the bad, the ugly, and everything all throughout and in between those frames of media. This video has a big warning, big warning. I know, okay, I am not a Jenny Han stan, okay, I haven't read all of her books, I'm not obsessed with her stories, so please understand that what I'm getting, I've gotten from a lot of YouTube videos where they speak about the comparisons between book to screen. I've seen many different kinds of comments on many different types of reaction videos of the seasons of The Summer I Turned Pretty. I've seen a lot of discourse, so I've seen all the sides. I've seen the Team Bonrad side, the Team Jellyfish side, the Team Belly is the problem side, the Team shippers are the problem, and all three of those kids need therapy side, and just nobody cares because shipping is too toxic. So I've seen all the sides, okay? So I think I have a pretty well-rounded view on what people think about the show. I just want to give my personal opinion. If you get upset with it, I'm sorry. If people can put 5 indented paragraphs in a comment section talking about why Conrad is so underappreciated and underloved, I think I can give my opinion on what I think. Now, yes, I have seen all of season 1 when it came out, and I made a video about it a long time ago. I was gonna put it over here. I think it was pretty positive, but considering how much the fandom is going on now, maybe it wasn't. My review went mostly on the moms and how much I really appreciate the depiction of their friendship, because we don't really get to see that much anymore, like a real genuine friendship with chemistry and love and affection and care and stuff like that. So I did like enjoy that more than the actual show. I think it was one of the best written parts in my personal opinion. I think Laurel may have been my favorite character. Honestly, I just wasn't really here for Belly, okay? I did like her with Jeremiah, but as somebody who has read a lot of romance novels, I knew what was gonna happen. So my heart wasn't like breaking. And honestly, guys, let's just be honest. This show is not necessarily, I'm talking about the show, maybe it's different in the books, because, you know, sometimes the scenery is different or whatever. The show wasn't written well enough for all this crying y'all niggas is doing. Like, I love Jeremiah, but I'm not crying, bro. Like, this, there's too many issues to make, like, the big emotional scenes, like, oh my god, like, yeah, I feel something. You know, like when Jeremiah found out that his mom had cancer again, I was like, oh, poor baby. You know, every time they force a scene between Conrad and Belly. And let's discuss that, because a lot of people think that, let's talk about the forced of Bonrad, alright? Now, it's different from the books. In the books, we are focusing more on Isabel's mindset. So of course they're gonna have maybe even just 10% more chemistry, and 10% is significant in the books because we're seeing it from her mind state and that she's obsessed with him, which is all this is saying. And I'm not saying this like most main girls in YA novels aren't obsessed, but some of my favorite YA novels are girls who are not necessarily obsessed. They literally just fall for the person. Those are some of my favorites. I have enjoyed a book or two where the girl has been obsessed with this guy forever and he finally sees her, but as a throwaway, not as a book that I read over and over and over, like some of y'all have like been like, oh my god, I read this book 5 different times. I'm like, you can read a book 5 different times where the girl is obsessive and dismissive and lacking a level of emotional intelligence? That's weird. Because here's the thing, right? The first thing people are going to say, especially when it comes to Belly, is she's young. What do you mean? What would you have done? I've been through a little bit of what Belly has been through. I told my friend this a long time ago. I had 2 instances, one when I was in primary school and one when I was in high school, right? Primary school is too young. Yeah. I'm just saying, I understand the childish mentality to a certain extent. I've had the broody bad boy that makes you do things that you would normally do, and you really care about him, and you're there as an opening ear to listen to all of his problems, and he's telling you all these issues, and you know he's not necessarily telling anybody else, so you feel like there's something there, and there's nothing there. You shouldn't end up with him. And let me say this, right? I think the problem with Conrad and Belly being forced in the show could have been easily remedied by better casting. I think Lola is pretty, so I think she's fine. But I don't think she has much chemistry with, I think the guy's name in real life is Chris. I think that is why. This is for the Bonrad shippers, just to help you understand where we are coming from, right? I think that is why we don't, I'm just saying we to simulate other people, that is why we do not understand that ship. That's why we don't get it, because we're not seeing the chemistry between these two actors. There are some shows where two people are not even together and will never be together, but those two people will have so much chemistry that people will ship them. We're not having even that. So I think that you guys need to consider that. It's not just that you guys don't understand all the mental turmoil that he's going through and everything that's happening with his mother, and you guys just don't see that he's going through a lot, and his mother has cancer, and how could you do that? And like, what? You think that we don't see that his mom has cancer, even though most people answer you when you say that by saying Jer's going through the cancer plot too, and you guys just hop over that to say yeah, but also Conrad knew that his father was cheating on his mom and he has panic attacks and so because Conrad is mentally unstable, that means we're supposed to like him with Belly? Mind you, neurodivergence is very important. People with some mental issues is very important. Seeing that depicted is very important. But this is a love story. People are either going to prefer the more toxic relationship or the more balanced one. And I said more balanced, not the balanced. Sorry if you hear my dog running around outside. I'm just going to say it here. I was a jelly shipper. Now, don't be mad because I said was. They're not going to end up together unless they decide to deviate from the books. So I cannot stay on this ship. But since I am no longer really a jelly shipper, I am now a non-shipper. I don't care. Now, do I see what people are saying when they say that Belly is at fault? Most definitely. Girl, she's messy. First of all, this is what I was saying when I was upset with Belly. If I thought that two attractive brothers were into me, right? But one of them I liked more personally, I wouldn't even give the other one any attention. This is just me personally, okay? You can say that it's unrealistic or whatever, and then y'all are just messy by nature and you need help. I would pick one and leave it alone. There would be no, they're fighting each other over me and their ships are breaking down after their mom's dead. Like, there wouldn't be none of that. This is us diving into the book world now. This is diving into the TV show world now. We're not trying to be realistic in this moment. We're talking about what we would have done in her situation, okay? I would not have done that. Like, not at all. Honestly, I think it's kind of weird that she went back and forth between both of them. This is not Elena, Stefan, and Damon. I think a lot of people have brought a lot of comparisons between those two. It's not the same thing at all. Elena is messy, but she's not nearly as messy as, Belly is. She was with Stefan. Then she realized Damon was better for her, allegedly, and some people don't agree with that. And then she left him for Damon, and there was no flip-flopping. Anytime she and Damon broke up, she never went back to Stefan in those moments. Like, oh, me and Damon having a hard time. Me and Damon are having some emotional communication issues, so I'm just going to go to Stefan. No. Did she do that? No, she did not. So for all of you trying to defend Belly in that moment, don't do that. There are things that you can defend Belly for. Don't defend her for that, because her and Elena has a lot of issues. They're not the same. Okay? Now, Spirit Jelly shippers, I understand why you prefer Jeremiah. I get it. And I also agree with you, those of you who say that he was done dirty in the books. I've heard a lot of Conrad shippers say that Conrad liked her before she turned pretty. No. It was stated that he only saw her that way after the summer she turned pretty. Once she turned pretty, whatever, just the statement that they used, that's when he saw her. Jeremiah saw her was interested before that. But he didn't do anything because he knew that she liked Conrad. Now, why are we saying this, right? it shows that Jeremiah pays a lot of attention to her. He notices her. He sees her. It is what it is. I genuinely feel like those of you who are Conrad shippers are just shipping them because the book told you to, and not looking at everything that the book brought. This is my issue with Jenny Han. It's not you guys' fault. It's Jenny Han's fault. I have a video on my channel where I speak about who Laura Jean Covey should have picked. Was it Peter or John Ambrose? Spoiler alert, I like John better. So my video was trying to explain why I thought her picking Peter was a bad idea. And that doesn't have anything to do with Peter being a bad person. I think Jenny wrote Peter pretty decently, and I can see why people like Peter, but we're talking about Laura Jean as a person, not Peter as a person. Who is better for Laura Jean? Not would you date Peter? Jenny Han seems to do this thing, and this is the second book she's done it in, so I don't understand why she does this all the time. Where she has a love triangle, she makes the second guy better than the first guy, and the first guy is always the endgame guy, right? So she makes number 2 better than endgame, but then she makes the girl pick endgame based off just some happenstance. So, for example, Laura Jean literally says in the books, you can look it up, John Ambrose is perfect for me, but Peter was there first. Does that make any sense to you people? When I was watching the show, right, she even had a little chemistry with Jordan Fisher, who played John Ambrose. I was like, oh, this is cute. Wait, you expect me? Now, here's the thing. This is the main issue I have with this style of writing that Jenny Han has. I've seen lots of, media where there's a love triangle, whether it's not that serious or it's the main focal point of the show. If you want us to go for the endgame ship, make the endgame ship make all the sense. And when I mean that, I mean don't make the second guy or the first guy or whoever it is that's not going to end up with her, don't make that guy perfect for the girl, because Jeremiah is not perfect. But he's perfect for Belly. And you guys don't like to discuss that, but it's fine. You prefer what the writer said is canon, and I understand that. There are lots of canon things that I prefer, so I'm not gonna hate on you for that. Yes, I technically am a jelly shipper, but I don't hate Bonrad shippers. I just dislike a little bit of the dishonesty, where you guys think that we don't consider that Conrad is going through a lot emotionally when we are talking about him. But you guys need to realize that you guys are in the higher position, right? You guys are the ship that won. And so when people are fighting you on that, they are literally coming from the place of, okay, you won, but if you really just squint your eye really hard and look at it like this, you're kind of wrong though. You can't be mad at people for trying to scrape around and find some crumbs to build up the ship that they actually prefer. Now, Jeremiah and Belly is not crumbs, but just an example to show you won. Right? You won. I really don't understand why butter shippers are fighting this hard when they won. Example, I am a Katang shipper. Katang is Katara and Aang from Avatar: The Last Airbender. There are loads of people out there who are Zutara shippers. That is Zuko and Katara. I don't really like Zutara shippers because it doesn't really make any sense to me, and it seems like an abusive relationship. It's giving colonization, but we're not gonna even play around with that. Anyways, I don't really argue, and I haven't made a video talking about why Katang is superior, even though I feel like I may in the future. But one of the reasons why I haven't is because I really don't have to. I won. Katang is the main ship. In the show, the comics, and Legend of Korra, even though I don't like Legend of Korra, it is shown that they were together. They stayed together until Aang died. Sorry, spoilers. And they had 3 kids. So I won. I got the happy ending. I win. It's me. So I don't really feel the need to fight Zutara shippers. They are literally fanfickers who are trying to live their best life. And of course, they'll bring up crumbs. That's like I spoke up about. Oh, the original creators were considering Zutara, and that's why certain scenes in season 2 were very suggestive. And I'm like, yeah, they were considering it. They considered a lot of things in this show that never happened. And the more and more that I hear the things that they considered, but then got axed by either Aaron Ehaus or Nickelodeon, the happier I become. Now, this is just to say, Bonrad shippers, I've been there. I've been on the winning side. And I don't feel the need to write 10-minute paragraphs about why I'm right and telling people that they have not considered things. Look, I get it. When they're talking about how bad Conrad is, it makes it seem like they're not considering his mental health. But they are. because this show is very dramatic and it forces all mental health struggles in front of them. It forces you to see that Conrad is going through something that has nothing to do with Belly, and then it forces you to see when he is going through something that has to do with Belly. All of that stuff is forced upon you tenfold. So we're not going to sit here and pretend that he's not going through anything. See, I've acknowledged it. What I'm saying is he good for Belly though? And what y'all will say? In the third book, he spent time alone, got better, got with Belly. Here's my issue with that. If it was that Belly was like, yo, Jeremiah, I like you. There is something here. And here's how we know that there is something here. In the TV show, because I can't fully go off of the books all the way because I don't really have much to quote unquote. In the TV show, she brings up kissing 3 people. Cam, Conrad, and Jeremiah. Cam was sweet, like the spring of new love. Conrad was, faint-inducing, like meeting your hero and finding out that they're in love with you. Jeremiah was sexy, spicy, like dating the popular guy, right? She didn't say that it was weird. She said she thought it would be weird, but it wasn't. That means that there was something there between them. Now, if she had ended this season by saying there's definitely something between us, I'm not even gonna lie, but it really pales in comparison to what I have for Conrad. Would I have liked that? No. But I would have preferred for Belly to end it here if she's going to end up with Conrad. Then all 3 of them go off for their college years. And then maybe 6 years later, they all meet up and then she ends up with Conrad. That is a decision that I would like. And I'm not saying that I would like her with Conrad. I really don't. I just don't see it for them. I just don't see it. There are lots of characters up together that I just don't care for and I don't see it for. But in order to make it clean, that's what she should have done. Why does she keep going back and forth like a ping pong? Like, I don't get it and I don't appreciate it. Let's talk about Jeremiah for a second, okay? This is a spoiler for the 3rd book, but everybody keeps bringing it up in every comment section. So if you look at comment sections, you should know this by now. But 15-second warning, you can skip 15 seconds. Jeremiah's going to cheat on her before they get married, so they'll end up cutting off the wedding and then she'll end up with Conrad. How is that a better choice to y'all? How? I know that technically that, she has always loved Conrad. There's always been something there. But she was about to marry his brother and has not cheated on him since they've been together the 2nd time. So the only thing that made her go back to Conrad was Jeremiah coming out of character. I said what I said. Jeremiah cheating doesn't make any sense. People were saying it didn't make sense in the books. I'm saying it doesn't make sense here because I thought that he was written super differently in the show. Apparently the only difference here is that he's bi and maybe 1 or 2 other things, but apart from that, he's practically the same as he is in the books, which means that it came out of nowhere for everybody. I don't understand why you guys keep using that as like he cheats on her, so it's Team Conrad. Honestly, for me, when I heard that he cheated, I'm like, it's Team Nobody then, because I just don't see it with her and Conrad. And I'm not gonna force myself to be like, okay, well, I guess since Jeremiah gonna cheat, then I have to. I don't have to do nothing. And you Conrad shippers need to understand that nobody has to do nothing. Honestly, I don't even like Belly that much to really be like she needs to be with somebody. She could be by herself and I would prefer the show better, but honestly, she is a horrific character. How are you gonna come to your brother's party, shame him about the death of somebody who he is obviously working out in his head differently, and then try to make yourself seem like the victim? What? How are you gonna low-key dump Conrad at prom and then say he left me? Now, I've heard it said that she said, I'm just gonna say what we are both thinking, meaning that the breakup could have come maybe a week later. That's possible. Let him do it. Let me feel bad for you by having him be the one to leave, instead of something for me to feel bad for because she left him technically, and then goes around and tells Susanna he left me. And I was like, what? Did I not see that really sad scene where you was crying your eyes out? I'm so confused. Hold on. What? Girl, you left him. Hold up. But no, I'm supposed to ship them together because they make all the sense, because they're so powerful and magical. Every time Jeremiah puts his lips on Belly, I feel something. I don't even like Belly. This is how you know that Jelly is technically, just technically, not in reality, but technically, it's a better ship, because even if you don't like Belly, you kind of like her with Jeremiah a little bit. That's how I know that Jelly's a ship for me personally. I don't really like Belly. I like her less than Conrad. I think Conrad's a better person than her sometimes. But come on now. Look how petty Conrad was acting this season. And we get why. But he kind of has this thing where he doesn't necessarily always learn from his mistakes until it's too late. Like I said before, just to round down the video because we're done here. Bonner shippers, you won. No need to fight in every comment section that you have. I think it's going to be very unlikely that they're going to change the books and that she's going to end up with Jeremiah. Here's why I say it's not going to happen. In the end, she didn't even say, I always saw my future with Conrad, but now I'm seeing with Jeremiah. She said, I don't know what the future holds. She's literally using Jeremiah as a placeholder right now. I know jelly shippers don't want to admit that, but that's kind of what that ending sounded like to me. So she left it so open-ended that it looks like they're going to follow the books exactly from here on out. There have been some things that have been different, but for the most part, the books will be followed. That's what I'm getting. I used to read books a lot, so I just stopped recently within the last year because of work. But I used to read like 20 books a week, so I'm not the type of person who doesn't read books or has never read. And most of the books I used to read were YA novels. So before you come at me, just realize when I say Jenny Han didn't do this properly, it's because I've seen a lot of examples to the contrary, okay? Now to cleanse my palate, I will be rereading one of my favorite books and talking about it here on this channel because I'm just, oof. Oh, honorable mention, Steven and Taylor, I don't really care. Taylor's character is just boring until she starts talking about Jeremiah and Belly. That's the only time I like her. Her and Steven are okay, but I kind of wish that they had changed her race. I don't usually say this, but I feel like I would like her and Steven more if like Taylor was black. I don't know. There's just something about Steven and Taylor that I'm like, if you just changed Taylor's race to black, I think I would like her a lot more. So yeah, that's just my personal thing. It's very, very personal. I don't even usually say something like this, so it's not like I always want race bending at all. But I'm like, since you did a lot of race bending already, you could have just made her black. Like, I don't think that would have changed anything, and it would have made me, honestly, it would have made me enjoy the Steven and Taylor ship a little more and care way less about Belly and what she got going on. To speak about Steven and Taylor, like, he wasn't even slightly interested in her. Like, he was going to end up with Shayla, and then they just kind of like removed Shayla from the equation and then focused on Taylor and Stevens. I'm just kind of confused because Shayla was a really nice person. And I don't like when people do that either. Stop introducing so many love interests all the time if you really just want to focus on one thing. Just make the focusing easier. Because I'm not going to sit here and ship her with Conrad when that don't make sense to me. You win, but it don't make sense to me. Sorry. The only thing that's good about her and Conrad is that she's obsessed with him and he's becoming obsessed with her. Is that what I'm supposed to ship? There's a difference between what makes sense for her and what she is obsessed with. You realize that, right? And that is why I also agree that Belly is kind of the problem here. Like, their mom dies and she focuses on Conrad and forgets Jeremiah. Wow. That is how you know that her love for Conrad is obsessive. Mentally. She doesn't like follow him around everywhere. But like, even like the cute sentences that y'all say are like, ooh, it's a cute line, I love that. I didn't like it. Oh, to her, Conrad is a sun, and when the sun is out, all the stars melt away. Insinuating that Jeremiah is a star. I don't like that. I don't like her obsession with him. Like, oh, it's all consuming, and he didn't even see her that way until recently. And she didn't even get a chance. A real chance to see what she would be like outside of her obsession, because unfortunately, because they're pushing her to be with these two brothers, she's always within arm's reach of her obsession, even with Jeremiah. These are just my personal thoughts. You don't have to agree. Please be respectful down below. Please no 5-hour-long paragraphs about Conrad. I explained that I get it, but it doesn't really matter because the way he was written, you can see why people do not appreciate him all the time. Okay? If that is how you would act in the midst of tragedy, that is your business. It doesn't mean other people have to get it. There are also Barnard shippers who get it. Find that tribe. That's all I'm saying. Okay. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. I don't know if I'm gonna make another video about this. Probably not. Maybe if season 3 comes out, but I doubt I'll watch it because I really just don't even have the time. Unless I hear people say that they changed from the books, then I'll watch because I want to see what they're gonna do. Not even because it might be Jeremiah. I just want to see what they would have done to make this different change. Apart from that, let me know what you think below. Sorry if I was passionate. I just need to speak this out. I don't really have any friends that watch this show because this show is trash, and I usually watch trash as a guilty pleasure when it comes to romance, and so that's why I have this channel to dish this stuff out here. Anyways, I'll respond to all the comments either with a like, a heart, and or a comment. Goodbye, my sires. Susul.